This is the Texas Brave and Strong podcast. This segment is Early Texans Sing. Shh, listen. Can you hear it? The singing. It's faint, but if you really concentrate, you can hear it. It's getting louder now. I think I can make out the tune. Da, 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 da. Texas, our Texas. It's the state song. That's strange. I even recognize some of the voices. You hear them too, don't you? The Spanish voice. That's Cabeza de Vaca. Apart from the Native Americans, I suppose, we might call him one of the very first Texans. In 1527, he was shipwrecked on the coast of Texas and spent 6 years in servitude to the Indians and 2 years wandering. When he finally made his way back to Spain, it was to ask the King of Spain to let him lead a royal expedition to explore and claim Texas for the Spanish crown. Unfortunately for de Vaca, the king had already granted the commission to Hernando de Soto. Hear the singing Frenchman? That must be La Salle, a daring and aggressive explorer who in the 1600s claimed the territory drained by the Mississippi River and all of its tributaries for French King Louis XIV. He then returned to France and gained permission to found a colony at or near the mouth of the Mississippi. In July of 1684, La Salle left Rochelle, France, with 4 ships and 280 people. Missing the mouth of the Mississippi, the ships landed in Matagorda Bay in Texas. It was an ill-fated expedition. Quarrels developed and La Salle was murdered in 1687 by jealous rivals among his men, and the early colony ultimately vanished. A year after La Salle's death, 6 of La Salle's faithful men, having fled Texas, finally reached the French outpost in Montreal, Canada. Listen. Hear the wavering, older voice singing now? That's the voice of a visionary, Moses Austin. His dream was to fill the vast and beautiful wilderness called Texas with American colonists. After years of negotiation, he convinced Mexico to let him bring Americans to settle the Mexican state. Mexico agreed largely because they believed a Texas settled with Anglos would serve as a buffer between the dangerous marauding Comanche and Apache and the settled population of Mexico bordering Texas to the south. But before Moses Austin could see his dream come to pass, he became ill and died. His son, Stephen F. Austin, shared his father's dream and brought 300 American families into Texas between 1824 and 1828. That loud and confident, deep voice? You know it has to be Sam Houston. Houston was the governor of Tennessee. He fell in love with a sweet young thing. No one knows exactly what happened on the honeymoon, but the tearful girl refused to see him anymore, and Sam Houston was quickly among those GTT, or gone to Texas. He arrived in time to lead the Texas Army in its battle against Mexican leader Santa Anna. The Texans won, quickly overcoming a substantially larger Mexican force. But legend has it that Houston had the help of a sweet young woman whose voice you hear so sweetly in the background. The Yellow Rose of Texas, that's what we call her, a mulatto slave girl from a nearby plantation. The story goes that she kept Santa Anna occupied during the siesta hour so that Texans could make their surprise attack. Houston went on to become president of the Republic of Texas, the first governor when Texas became a state. In 1860 and 1861, he was a warning voice against secession and joining the Confederacy. Ultimately, his refusal to sign an oath of allegiance to the Confederacy cost him his governorship. But back to the 1830s, there was another battle before San Jacinto, a battle the Texans did not win, the Battle of the Alamo. Fewer than 200 courageous men tried to hold the Alamo against thousands of Santa Anna's Mexican forces. It was a hopeless cause, but it was not fight in vain. Remember the Alamo became the rallying cry for Texas independence. The voices of William Barrett Travis and Jim Bowie were last heard at the Alamo. Yet I imagine that I hear them now echoing in our state song chorus. The fiddler? That has to be Davy Crockett. But fiddling was not his only talent. The Mexicans came to fear his deadly shot. He, too, was silenced at the Alamo. Ah, there's another charming soprano voice. That's Cynthia Ann Parker. What a sad story she could tell. In 1836, her family was killed in a Comanche attack. She was captured and spent 25 years with the Comanche, marrying a chief and bearing 3 children. In 1860, against her wishes, she and her baby daughter, Prairie Flower, were taken and returned to her white relatives. Her daughter died of pneumonia. Legend says Cynthia Ann Parker died of a broken heart. Her son, Quanah, took his mother's name, and as Quanah Parker became a famous Comanche chief. Listen to the 2 strong voices leading now. Charles Goodnight and Captain Kleberg, each one carved a vast cattle empire out of what had been the Texas prairie. The song goes on, but there are more voices than I can name, yet every one is important in the historic tapestry of this great state. Listen, the refrain is ending now. God bless you, Texas, and keep you brave and strong, that you might grow in power and worth throughout the ages long. This has been the Texas Brave and Strong podcast. It's the best little podcast in Texas. I'm Laurie Moore-Moore. You'll find my new novel, Gone to Dallas, The Storekeeper, 1856 to 1861, on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Ingram Spark in paperback and ebook versions. Check it out. Y'all come back next Thursday for another Texas Brave and Strong podcast.